Week 10 of the All-Time Rosters franchise sends us to San Diego on Thursday night. It's an AFC West battle, so you know there's plenty of points between two of the top 6 passer rating QBs in the league, Kenny the Snake Stabler and this guy, Dan Fouts, the Hall of Fame QB. However, in the first half, it was littered with mistakes led by 2 interceptions of Dan Fouts, both picked off by Mike Haynes. The Raiders would tack on the points on the interception and lead the game late in the half, 17-3. Antonio Gates was brilliant on this drive for the Chargers, their new number 1 tight end due to the injury to Kellen Winslow. This 8th catch of the day sets up a Charger scoring drive to tie the game. Keith Lincoln then Paul Lowe for his 2nd touchdown of the year. We're locked up at 17. But with 4 minutes to go, the Snake wouldn't go down without a fight. A long drive, and Bo Jackson, one of the more productive backup running backs in the league, scores his 5th touchdown of the year. With the Chargers down late in the game, Fouts converts 4th in inches and then finds LaDainian Tomlinson yet again. Chargers were driving but took a lot of time. 7 seconds left on this final snap of the game. Dan Fouts throwing to John Jefferson. I don't know what he was thinking, running out of the end zone to make this catch, and is tackled at the 3. The Raiders leapfrog the Chargers in the AFC West with this road win. Plenty of division games for Week 10 of the season, and this really was an elimination game for Atlanta, who comes in 1-7, and both sides of the ball shined against New Orleans in a Big 6, first of the year for Hall of Famer Dion, and the Falcons rout the Saints. This division duel in Chicago is anticipated to be a rout as well, as the Bears take on the Lions at Soldier Field. The Bears, with a win and a Packer loss, would jump into a tie for first in the division, but the defense didn't do its job in the first half. Herman Moore the touchdown, the Lions led in a shutout, 16-0. Sid Luckman, who's facing injuries throughout the fourth quarter, heaves a prayer late in the game, and Harlan Hill comes down with it, leading to a Bears touchdown, Sid Luckman to Brandon Marshall. The Bears would need an onside to keep their comeback hopes alive, but it is Dutch Clark who picks it up to cap off the Lions' upset of Chicago, 16-10. There was debate going into the year as to whether Manning or Johnny Unitas should be the number 1 quarterback for the all-time Colts, but Peyton Manning took the reins and has not looked back. Another brilliant day for the Hall of Fame QB. Marvin Harrison catches the long ball from Manning, and then Reggie Wayne caps it off with a touchdown, and then Lenny Moore finds the end zone too. The Colts embarrass their division rival, 37-3, the Colts over the Jaguars, and Peyton Manning has the league's most yards and the 4th most touchdowns for the 6-4 Colts this year. Meanwhile, the league leader in touchdown passes has been none other than Patrick Mahomes with 18 this season for the 7-1 Kansas City Chiefs. He'd throw a 19th to close the first quarter to Hall of Famer Tony Gonzalez, his 2nd in as many games. But the Chiefs' Mahomes otherwise had a horrible game against the Broncos. No one touched him on a fumble recovered from Wilson, and then Champ Bailey jumps the route and picks off Mahomes, leading to a go-ahead Denver field goal. Luckily for the Broncos, both Floyd Little and Terrell Davis ran very well in the fourth quarter and helped secure a huge upset on the road as the all-time Broncos defeat the Chiefs 9-7. Kansas City leads by 2 games in the AFC West and will battle the Patriots next week. Likewise, the undefeated all-time Steelers had a tough time early moving the ball against Cincinnati. Hall of Famer Ken Riley with his first pick of the year, and then the Bengals' Ken Anderson fighting for his job finds Bob Trumpy for the Cincy touchdown. It was 10-0 late in the half, but Pittsburgh just did enough to come back in this game. Hines Ward the catch, and Franco Harris, one of the league leaders in rushing yards and rushing touchdowns, in for 6. The Steelers escape in Cincinnati, 16-10 Pittsburgh. And the all-time Texans fall to 0-10 with a blowout loss at Tampa Bay, 35-3. Doug Williams was the offensive player of the week with 185 yards passing and another 86 and 2 touchdowns on the ground. One of the ugliest games of the season takes us to Charlotte, North Carolina, as the 5-3 all-time Titans-Oilers mix of teams visit the 3-5 Carolina Panthers. Welcome back from injury, Luke Kuechly, who's been out since week 1 of the season, he picks off Warren Moon twice in the first quarter of this game. These are the first 2 picks of the season for the Tennessee-Houston quarterback. Unfortunate for Kuechly, he got no help from the remainder of his teammates. Derek Mason with another long touchdown, and the Titans-Oilers lead late 17-7. Then Thomas Davis gets in the takeaway party for Carolina, leading to a Panther field goal. Earl Campbell coughs up a fumble. That's 5 for Campbell this year, and Kuechly is there for another takeaway, but the Panthers could do nothing with it. Newton taken down late in the game. 8 turnovers in Charlotte today. Titans-Oilers by 7. Their 4th win in a row to maintain first in the AFC South. A good one from Miami is the 5-3 Dolphins, 3-0 at home this season, battled the all-time Redskins Commanders. We pick things up in the first quarter as starter Ricky Williams goes down to the 41 and breaks a disc in his back. He's out for the rest of the regular season, adding to the laundry list of injuries for the all-time Dolphins. Luckily, their backup Larry Zonka doesn't just run, but he throws the ball for Miami and completes it to Hill for an 80-yard touchdown. But before the half, a man back from injury himself, Art Monk, with a box out of Will Allen, catches the touchdown for Washington. We're tied at 10 going into the fourth quarter, and slinging Sammy Baugh, 3rd of the league in passing, cuts up Miami yet again and throws his 2nd touchdown of the day and 11th of the year, this one to Bill Anderson. Marino late in the game. He's got to do it out of timeouts in the clutch, complete to Tyreek Hill for 36. And then the backup tight end for another 29. And on 2nd down, Brandon Marshall hauls in the touchdown. And after a Washington 3-and-out, we are headed to overtime. Redskins Commanders get the ball first and convert 3 third downs on this drive. John Riggins, Bobby Mitchell, and then Bobby Mitchell again to set up MVP kicker Mark Mosley for the win. And he got it to knock out the Dolphins in overtime. 297 yards for slinging Sammy Baugh, and Washington wins their first game in over a month. The leader of the greatest show on turf, Kurt Warner of the all-time Rams, take the show to Cleveland to battle the 6-2 Browns. Luckily for the Rams QB, he's got plenty of receivers at his disposal, including Torrey Holt. Meanwhile, Otto Graham of the Browns loses one of his, Paul Warfield, going down with a back injury, and he's out for the rest of the year. That didn't stop Graham, however, late in the game here. This is Gary Collins for the first down, and then Hall of Famer Ozzie Newsome setting up Jim Brown on 4th and goal for the 1-yard touchdown to send the game to overtime, 13-13. Despite the Brown heroics, he made 2 big mistakes in overtime, stopped here on a 3rd down, and then misses a block of Aaron Donald, forcing an incompletion. As you can see, Brown didn't see Donald coming in from the blind side. Kurt Warner, given 2 chances in overtime, he wasn't going to disappoint. Down Red Phillips to injury, backup Tyler Higbee sets up the game winner from Jeff Wilkins. Most passing yards from Warner this season, 342 in Cleveland, as the Rams knock out the Browns in overtime. Tom Fears will take Higbee's spot at tight end next week, but what a performance from him. We go from the greatest show on turf to the greatest game on turf this week. Roger Staubach and the all-time Cowboys, Jim Kelly and the all-time Bills. Plenty of touchdowns in this one, beginning with Tony Dorsett. Jim Kelly found Dawson Knox to tie the game, but not for long, as Staubach goes deep to the playmaker for a 55-yard go-ahead scored, Michael Irvin, and then Jim Kelly marches him downfield, and Andre Reed, who went over 100 on this day, in for 6. Into the fourth quarter now, Dallas up a field goal, but Eric Moulds woke up on this drive, catches 2 big ones, including that pass with one hand. Then on 2nd and goal, Kelly finds Elbert Dubenian for the go-ahead touchdown. 2 plays later, Staubach finds the end zone again. 78 yards to Bob Bullitt, and the Cowboys lead with 14 seconds, celebrating in the sideline as he's got 125 and a touchdown, his 6th of the year. Kelly on the final play of the game, going for the win. A deep ball, and it is complete to Dubenian again, but short of the end zone. 671 yards and 5 touchdowns between Kelly and Staubach, but it is Staubach and the Cowboys who win it in the end. In order to keep pace with the Cowboys out of the NFC East, Philadelphia's got to keep on winning. They battle the struggling Cardinals today. First touchdown of the season for both Shady McCoy, and down 3 in the third quarter, it's Mike Quick who goes the distance off of 2 Cardinal misses. It's 79 yards for Quick and the late Philadelphia lead. An Ollie Matson touchdown and another Akers field goal, so with a minute to go in the game, we're tied at 20. David Boston, who was Jim Hart's best receiver on this day, with the first down, but then Hart and the Cardinals go 3 and out, getting Cunningham a chance, and he would deliver. Big one to the tight end here to set up David Akers for the win. He came into the day perfect on field goals this season, but with the game on the line, he missed it wide right. We're headed to overtime, and the Cardinals win the toss. But then Hart throws this one away, a 3 and out for Arizona, giving the ball right back to Cunningham, and he go deep again and finds Pete Pihos. David Akers, would he miss 2 field goals, this one to win it? The answer is no. Right between the uprights, and Philadelphia improves to 5-4 with this win at overtime, 23-20. Next week, the Eagles visit the Giants, and the division-leading Cowboys are in Washington. 3-5 Ravens at the 3-5 Seahawks. The man who retired with the most touchdown catches in NFL history. It took him half the season, but he finally has his first touchdown of this year, Steve Largent. The rest of the Seahawk players responded after the big play from Largent. DK Metcalf's first 100-yard game of the season and his last. He'd break his collarbone there and is out for the year. 14-10, Kenny easily gets involved defensively, and Sean Alexander scores his second rushing touchdown of the day as Seattle knocks out Baltimore 21-16. Unlike Largent, the GOAT receiver Jerry Rice has had plenty of touchdowns this season. In the third quarter, already up 5, Rice is gone for a 65-yard score, part of his 7-catch, 143-yard touchdown day for San Francisco. Niners in firm control going into the fourth, but Eli caps off a drive with a touchdown to Odell and a roughing the passer. Then after the defense delivers a third down stop, 2-time Super Bowl MVP Eli Manning has a chance to steal a win on the road. They've got to go 80 yards. First down, Amani Toomer. A 4th and 5. There is the tight end Jeremy Shockey in for the injured Mark Bavaro. Then with 8 seconds left in the game, this for the win. Manning throws it to the end zone, and Eric Wright picks off Eli at the 5 to seal the San Francisco win. The all-time Giants drop to 4-5, losers of 2 games in a row. Meanwhile, San Francisco at 7-2 enjoys the top spot in the NFC West. Randy Moss of the all-time Patriots went down in Week 3 to a broken collarbone, opening the door for Stanley Morgan, who's been one of the great stories of the season. He ranks in the top 5 in yards and touchdowns, and another 76 ties the game at 10. Into the fourth quarter, Joe Namath wasn't going to go down without a fight. He finds Al Toon to set up this Curtis Martin rushing touchdown. He played for both the Patriots and the Jets. Vintage Tom Brady with the game on the line. Almost a foregone conclusion. Troy Brown was his favorite target on this possession. And with the Patriots out of timeouts, Rob Gronkowski catches the pass to the 2-yard line. And then with 3 seconds left, Brady's got to go to the end zone. If it's incomplete, the game is over. He fits it into Gronkowski for the touchdown to send us to overtime. What a drive. Joe Namath going for the win in OT, overthrows an open Dom Maynard for 6, but his defense picks up the slack. Second pick of the day from Hall of Famer Darrelle Revis, and that sets up, after a Martin run, the game-winning overtime field goal. Tough way to lose it for the Patriots, as they just couldn't contain the number 2 running back in the league, Curtis Martin. And to close Week 10, we head to Lambeau Field on Monday night in what expected to be a great game. Instead, Fran Tarkenton of the Vikings made it a laugher. Couple of touchdown passes in his best day of the season. Another 70 yards rushing for Tarkenton of the Vikings, who go into Green Bay and keep their playoff hopes alive, 34-14. Packers have a 1-game lead over the Bears in the division. Meanwhile, the Steelers are up 2.5 games over the rest of the league at 10-0. Here's a look at the week that was and a preview of Week 11 of the season, but before then, the injury report is tomorrow. It's been a thrill to bring you the season so far. Join us next week for Week 11 highlights on Sunday. This is the All-Time Rosters franchise with Charger U95.